When I think of Ireland, I think of many colours of green. Welcome to Ireland and its green fields.
I'm Maurice Maloney. I'm working here in Coolmore Stud in Ireland. This is a public stud farm where we stand quite a number of stallions. The preeminent stallion being Galileo. We're a worldwide organisation. We also have a stud farm in America, in Lexington in Kentucky, and we have a stud farm in Australia, in the Hunter Valley, in Scone in the Hunter Valley, New South Wales. Worldwide we would stand close on 60 thoroughbred stallions, and we're producing some of the best bloodstock in the world under the Coolmore banner. We're very lucky, like I say, to have the preeminent stallion in the world at the moment, a horse called Galileo. He's been champion 8 times in the last 9 years, and he's very, very valuable horse, and we're glad to have him here in Coolmore. The Queen is a patron of ours, and she has some mares living here on the farm, and in 2011 she visited the farm here. We were delighted to have her here, and she went to see all the great stallions. Sadly, she was coming to see a great horse called Sadler's Wells, who was the father, or the direct paternal father of Galileo, and he sadly died a couple of weeks before she arrived here. So that's horses for you, but we were glad to have her here, and she's very, very passionate about horses and bloodstock and everything got to do with racing. Yeah. Galileo has numerous sons, and we at the moment have 7 of his sons standing here in Coolmore. There are lots of those that we hope are pretenders for his crown. We have Australia standing here, Churchill, we have Gurkha, we have numerous horses standing here, sons of him, and hopefully one day they'll take over his mantle and then continue on the legacy. Yeah.
Where do the horses race?
The horses race in numerous tracks around the world. We would compete at the highest level in most countries that have thoroughbred racing. So we compete in England, France, Germany, America, Australia, not so much in the Far East, but there as well at times. So there's anywhere there is thoroughbred racing, we'll be there to compete. Yeah. The stud farm here in Coolmore is about roughly about 3,000 acres.
The Cliff Hotel sits on the cliff overlooking the sea. It's also a Michelin star hotel.
Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you.
I stopped in V for a quick aerial view of the valley. Lismore is a colourful, quaint town where I enjoyed walking the historic streets and peeking in the shops. Flag colours such as green represents the Catholics, orange represents the Irish Protestants, and the white is for the peace between the groups. There are lots of colourful old buildings in this town.
Welcome everybody, first of all, to Kilfennan and to Ballyhowra Apple Farm, an orchard that we had planted in Churchtown with about 5,000 trees. Churchtown would be about 17 miles from here. So when the collapse came, I had to look around at my assets and see what I was going to do. I had 4 young kids to feed and had to try and keep going. So I looked at the orchard and I said, you know, maybe there's something in it. And I started with plain apple juice, a few apples, and started doing farmers markets. So it was okay, because at least every bottle I sold, I was getting a few quid over the counter, and it got me going, and it kept a little cash turning over. We started in kind of September 2009, and the first Christmas, the sale of the apple juice was dying away. There wasn't a lot of go for it. So I had to come up with something else. So I came up with a blend of spices. And what I did was I got a little packet, and we packed the spices, and we were selling 3 bottles of juice, the packet of spice, and a recipe for mulled apple juice. And again, I was back selling a little bit of apple juice, so this was okay. When it came to the springtime, Again, the mulled apple juice wasn't selling, the plain apple juice wasn't selling. So I came up with an idea for apple and beetroot juice. Springtime, detox after the Christmas. And again, it worked, you know, and it worked quite well for us. So we took some of those products to various different competitions. There's a competition in Ireland called Blas na HÉireann. It's the Irish Food Awards, and it is pretty prestigious. But we took our mulled apple juice and we got silver for best new product in 2010. We took 10 products to the Great Taste Awards in London in 2013, and we got 7 golds. So I said, you know, I must have a little bit of a flair for this, and it's working kind of well for me. So I continued with the farmers' markets up to about 3 years ago. And we were at a stage then whether we either went for it big time or else we just stayed as we were at the farmers' markets. We use 100% apples to make the cider, 100% cider to make the vinegar. So we have a premium product. We bring in our juice in these containers, we convert it into cider, then we put it into our tanks and we make the vinegar. And then I send away, again, inside in these tanks, and my friend bottles it for me. So he does the pressing and the bottling, and we get it back then like this. So he would have it labelled, bottled. We send it away like this, comes back like this. So then we box it, we put our little neck collars on it, and we have it on our pallets and we send it out to the supermarkets. So the Great Taste Awards are something that would be, they're organised by the Guild of Fine Food in London. So they have products from all over the world, and they give a 1-star, 2-star and 3-star rating to various different products.
And how many stars did you get?
We got 1-star for our apple juice, which was surprising because there's such a variety of apples in England and a variety of apple juices. So I was very happy with that. And we got a 3-star for a sweet drinking vinegar we do. That sweet drinking vinegar, I got a 1-star in 2013. I kept tweaking it. We got a 2-star last year and we got a 3-star this year. So
You're on your way.
we're on our way. So a batch takes maybe 5-6 months. And then we have to clean the tank because it gets saturated with the mother culture.
Jon Haggins the GlobeTrotter is like no other travel book in the world. When I think of travel, I think of friends from around the world. Jon Haggins the GlobeTrotter features Malaysia, Brazil, Mexico, Europe. It's an amazing book. And the recipes will whet your appetite and allow you to dream of those incredible destinations. The cover is whimsical, so it gets you in the mood for traveling. So remember, get up, get out, and travel.
My name is Michael O'Sullivan. I'm a volunteer tour guide with Doneraile Development Association, and we have Myra here, who is secretary of the association as well. Look at you, look at you. We're in Doneraile. We are 1 hour from Cork Airport, we're 1 hour from Shannon Airport, and we're 2 hours from Dublin Airport. So you're better off if you're in Cork or Limerick. We're in Doneraile Park. It's a park of about 500 acres. That's about 170 hectares. It is a park that is now managed by the Irish state. It's a public park. It's a free park. And last year we had 500,000 visits here, which is quite a number for the population. The park was developed by the St. Leger family. They came here in the 17th century, and that is 400 years ago. And we will be looking very quickly at 17th century gardens, 18th century gardens, and 19th century gardens, all of which were very important in their time, but today are unique because we have them all preserved. And the state is now beginning a process of restoring those gardens and restoring the house in the centre of the grounds. So I'll just orientate you here. This is the park, and we are here. There's a river running through. There's a large park to the north, a smaller park to the south. Doneraile Court is here. Doneraile Village is here. It's an estate village built to service the park and court, and some 20 large houses in the valley of the river. We will be visiting one of the townhouses in a while. Myra has a tea room called Townhouse, and if you're good, she might give you some cake if you get there early enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend some time just here, and you'll appreciate when we finish that the place is quite extensive, very large. We have 5,000 people here on a busy day, but you wouldn't see them. And so people come at the moment for leisure, for cycling, walking, running, picnics and so forth. But what we're doing currently is we're researching the history of the site. And you've got some information packs. One pack gives you a lot of images of the gardens and some history of the gardens. Another book gives you the history of Doneraile. Antoinette has these as well, and if you want to use those images, just come back to me, or if you want any further information on the history, just come back to me through Antoinette. So we will start just on the green here. That's the first stop. We will then go to the 17th century garden. We will talk about the 18th century garden and then the 19th. So we have about 4 key stops, and we might meet some people en route. Of the St. Leger family here. That family is associated with racing. If you Google it, you'll see the link with Doncaster and so forth. The reason the St. Leger family came here is Henry VIII. And you'll be familiar with Henry VIII, but you'll be unfamiliar with his link with Ireland. And he brought the St. Legers across as administrators in the 17th century. In Dublin and again in Munster. So we had what's called the High President of Munster, and he was responsible for all of this part of the country. Now Henry was very happy with his workmen, with the St. Legers, but he would visit on occasion and would be very concerned that they didn't get too big for their boots. So he kept a watching brief.
You probably wonder why I stand underneath this park tree. You've been curious, of course, not recognizing me at once. Why, I'm Henry VIII, and you have come to survey my kingdom of Ireland. I sent St. Leger, dubbed Sir Anthony, to prelude Gaelic and English alike. Almost 500 years ago. Ye gods, why time does fly. St. Leger was my man. They say he was sent for his philosophy to Cambridge and for government to court himself. What tosh! He merely got the job done, so that's why I sent for him, to sort you lot out. But in a diplomatic way once he said, he came to me and he repeated, "My liege, I believe we should return the island to the Irish." I said, how could that be so? For I am king and they are my people. So upon a confounding rouge, he said, if they swear faithfully to you, then I propose you return the lands they have surrendered. Surrendered Henry Grant, I believe he called it. So I agreed, and they agreed, and I became king of the kingdom of Ireland. But the catch is he was merely speaking of Dublin, of that place they called the Pale, now fondly known as the ancient East. Ye continued with your Irish laws down here. It did take us another while to sort that lot out.
We'll leave Henry and we'll move to the 17th century. We'll go along quickly. We have a little walk now to the entrance. Now, an important person here also was a chap called Spencer, Edmund Spencer. He was a poet. He was a poet at the time of Elizabeth I. He lived in this area and he wrote the longest poem in English, The Fairy Queen. Very good. Yeah, hey, pat that person. She's been doing her research.
No. It was a bit of a cheating.
You saw. Somebody told you.
You shouldn't have said that. You should have said, oh yes, I've been researching this.
So the landscape of this area inspired him, and he wrote it referring to the landscape and referring to her genius and all of that. However, she got a little upset because she was supposed to be the font of all knowledge and inspiration, but they made it up in the end.
Welcome to the shady glens of Doneraile, where flows the gentle Mulla, a name I have given the river yonder. My name is Edmund Spencer, chief poet to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth I. I was educated at Cambridge, and I gained employment as secretary to Lord Grey. It was with Lord Grey that we came to Ireland to quell the Desmond Rebellion. The Irish are such a rowdy lot, you know. It was for my invaluable assistance to the Crown forces that I was granted an estate of some 3,000 acres not far from here, called Kilcolman. While at Kilcolman, I wrote my most famous work, The Fairy Queen, longest poem in English literature and the best. It was inspired by the landscape here and written in honour of Her Majesty the Queen. My good friend Sir Walter Raleigh, who resides in Youghal, has seen my work and thinks I should present it at court. Methinks I could gain well from it, even get a royal patronage perhaps. I'm so excited, but I mustn't lose my head. Now before I go, I must tell you that since coming here I've met and fallen in love with and married Elizabeth Boyle of Cork. We spent many happy years in Kilcolman. In times after me, my good relation in Cork, my cousin, the Earl of Cork, Boyle was his name, yes, he made close his association with William St. Ledger, Lord President of Munster, who lived here in Doneraile. Their descendants were much taken with this place and my verse, and were inspired to build extensive gardens here in Doneraile. Few know this now, but my work influenced the great English landscape architect William Kent and his successor Capability Brown. Look around you. You will see my genius in this place.
Jon Haggins the GlobeTrotter is like no other travel book in the world. When I think of travel, I think of friends from around the world. I've traveled to Malaysia, Thailand, India, everywhere. You're going to absolutely love the book. And the recipes, you will whet your appetite with these incredible aromatic recipes. Remember, my world is your world. So get up, get out, and travel.
My name is Vincent Murphy, but everybody calls me Jasper. It's a nickname I got years ago. And I'm the 5th generation of the McCarthy family to run this bar. We've been here almost 200 years now. And we were once a hotel, and we had a livery yard, we had a mart out the back, we had stables, but now we're just a pub, restaurant and undertaker. You can come into McCarthy's and we can look after you from your very first day on earth to your very last day on earth. We serve drink, we serve food, and we're also undertakers. So we haven't had too many instances, though I do remember one where a man actually came in, ordered a drink and a sandwich and dropped dead. Thankfully it doesn't happen very often. I don't think people are too impressed when they hear he had a sandwich and he dropped dead. But actually the same guy was a bit of a character, and when they told me, I was living in an apartment out the back, and when they told me that he had dropped dead in the bar, I didn't believe them. I said, yeah, right, and hung up the phone. And then they rang me again and said, no, Mick is dead in the bar. I said, yeah, right, and hung up the phone. I said, I was wondering what they were trying to do. I said, somebody's trying to wind me up now. So eventually one of the staff came down and I saw their face. I said, oh Jesus, he is dead in the bar. So I came up and he was. It's a medieval town. We're here about 600 years. And it's had its peaks and troughs. At the moment we're back on the way up again. We've restored the medieval part of the town. And we've got a very big business outside town called Coolmore Stud. So that brings a lot of people to the area. A lot of places go very quiet in the winter. we actually get busy because people come here for horses. So they come here for horse racing, they come for hunting, they come for breeding. The most popular item on McCarthy's menu, I'd say, is steak. And all our steak is local. It comes from a farm 8 miles down the road. We know the butcher, and he knows exactly what we want. As far as I know, there are 70 pub undertakers left in Ireland, and it was a more common combination once, but I think we're one of the only ones left that do pub, food and undertaking. So we wine you, we dine you, we bury you. What's unique about our pub is it's the same, and it has been the same since my great-great-grandfather opened it back in the 19th century. So it's here almost 200 years.
I want to say this is a wonderful morning. The sun is out, it isn't raining, we're in Ireland. This is Elizabeth, she owns this hotel, and the hotel is just superb.
Thank you, John.
It's a 5-star hotel.
Oh, well, we're not quite 5-star, we're 4-star.
Well, you know what? It feels like 5-star.
Good, that's what we like.
And it's so comfortable. I mean, and just to relax here and just look out, like my terrace, I look out and I see the river, I see the birds, I see people bicycling. This is a fabulous destination for people to come.
Great, thank you very much.
And I can't wait to come back because there's so much more to see, you know? Every corner there's something new to see.
Good, yeah, that's great. We've got lots of new interest. We've got lots of heritage in Ireland and lots of new things coming up as well. So there's lots of wildlife, walking, castles, shopping, whatever you like, horse racing.
Exactly.
Whatever you want to do.
Fantastic. Elizabeth, you know what I think is so wonderful is the fact that you've got this wonderful river that runs almost through the property in a sense, and it's refreshing. You get great breezes, and the Manila Hotel is just absolutely incredible. You've expanded it, which I think is fantastic.
We've expanded it. My parents bought it as a private house and then converted it into a hotel. They started first with 10 bedrooms. Now we have 90. 10 self-catering apartments, and we cater for up to 600 for functions.
How fantastic.
And conferences. So,
well, yeah, that's very important. Yeah. That's an incredible part of the business.
It is, yeah,
you know.
Huge. A lot of corporate business, a lot of corporate functions and weddings and anniversaries, everything.
And where do they come from? Are they from Ireland?
They come from everywhere. We get a lot of local business, thank God. We get a lot of international business. We've got a lot of international companies in Clonmel. We've got Boston, Abbott, Merck Shop and Dome, so they bring a lot of international guests to us. Then we do a lot of tourists during the summer. We do a lot of Germans. We've had a lot of Indonesians this year, a lot of Americans.
Fantastic.
So from all over the world, some nights we could have 15, 20 different nationalities staying.
And do you live on the property?
I don't live on the property, no, not anymore. I did at the beginning when we were kids. We all lived on the property with our parents, but now we all live out of the property.
No room for you?
No room for us. No room for us.
With
and the
90 rooms, no room.
No room. Hopefully we're full. The River Shore runs through the property, runs all the way from North Tipperary right down to the sea in Waterford. So, and we've got a lot of wildlife on the river as well. There's a lot of otters. I don't know if you saw them this morning.
No.
There's otters and there's cranes. The river's very low at the moment because we had an unbelievable summer, but it does flood a bit in the winter time. But it's great. We do kayaking, walking. As you see, there's people walking along the river now.
And biking.
And biking. The shoreway is open, so you can walk all the way now from Clonmel to Carrick-on-Shore.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, and as you can see, there's people walking all the time and cycling all the time along it, looking over at us at the hotel.
So when you were a little girl and you were living here, what sort of things did you do here?
Oh, we played on the grass. We rolled down those hills all the time.
We had a lot of space.
We have a lot of space. We had a lot of space. We used to have our ponies here. We would gallop along the grass here. We used to, in those days when we were small, we had our animals here. We had rabbits.
Wow.
We used to have rabbits. We had pigs, which we fed, and we used the bacon and that in the hotel. We use a lot of local produce in the hotel, as you saw last night at dinner, and again this morning for breakfast. We use a lot of the local suppliers, like we have local free-range eggs, jams, marmalades, breads. They're all made by the local community and all small family businesses, which is important to keep the family business going.
Absolutely, but it's also farm to table.
That's it.
Which I think America is just finally getting used to that, but I think here everything is so fresh and it really has a real flavor, you know, as opposed to the stuff that we get in New York. It's just, you know, has no flavor because it's been...
Well, the shelf life is too long on it. When they don't know how long it's going to be on the shelf life is too long. So whereas we got our eggs in last night, which you had this morning for breakfast,
Delicious.
they were only hatched. They were still warm. They were still warm. The sausages were only made yesterday. We turn over very quick, so we get deliveries literally every day.
Which is fantastic. What I love also is just, it's so peaceful here. It's so, you can hear the birds chirping, you know, and it's really back to nature.
Yeah.
You know, and you have this palatial estate here, which is just absolutely perfect. Nothing is more romantic than biking along the Waterford Greenway and the Garvin Bay, while the cool, fresh air rushes against my face. The green is beautifully manicured, and the trail is 22 miles of flats. You know, when I think of Ireland, I think of the green rolling hills. Waterford Greenway is spectacular. It's for cycling and walking the trails along the old railway line. One of the best ways to explore the Greenway is by bicycle. The Longville House is another country house that was converted into a hotel, and the lush grounds surround the property. Munster is one of the provinces of Ireland, and it's situated in the southwest. In early Ireland, the kingdom of Munster was one of kingdoms of Gaelic, and it was built by a king. Following the Norman invasion of Ireland, the ancient kingdom shared in counties for administration and judicial purpose. The Lismore Castle and Gardens is spectacular, and it has a canopy of trees. Lismore Castle and Gardens is a must-stop. You can rent the castle for a stay or a special occasion. The Lismore Castle is a perfect accent for the gardens. People come from far and near. I hope you enjoyed Ireland as much as I did. I look forward to seeing you next week at another colorful destination. So long for now.